Hey everyone, it's Biggs. Welcome back. Today is Spider Day. We love Spider Day. I love Spider Day. Well, we're sitting outside. Yes, I'm in my rural community. I'm sitting outside of a Staples, and that's where my FedEx depot is. And today, we're not getting only spiders today. Well, we are only getting spiders today. But we're getting the absolute holy grail of spiders today. Let's go get them. Look at that little innocent box of danger. Oh boy. Probably one of the most coveted species of tarantulas. And I believe there's 3 in here. So let's get them home. All right, guys, we're back. We're finally at that stage. Now the stuff in here, as I mentioned, there's actually 2 species in this box. And really the size of this box is incredibly large for what's inside here. I'm going to assume that it's probably all the packaging material because I haven't even opened it. I haven't even cut the seals or anything yet. Well, I do that all for you guys here. But the ones that are in it, these are little tiny itty bitty slings. 3 of them are one species, and they're probably one of the most coveted species of tarantula out there anywhere in the world. Once you guys hear about it, you'll know exactly which one we're talking about. And the other one, it's pretty cool too. I haven't had the other one before, and the other one, I had to just make sure I got one, just so I could say I had it. But let's take a peek and see what we got here. Now this came all the way from Montreal from my dear friends Martin and Amanda over at Tarantula Canada. Now the three spiders in question, they are actually captive bred by Martin. I guess I put that away prematurely. And they're rarely offered. But when they are offered, you want to jump on them. So when I was offered to them from Amanda, I was like, yeah, we need to do that. All right. Temperature-wise, we're really good right now. So let's see what we got here. This is just a little temperature pack, a little cold pack. Little tiny pack, so it kind of keeps it more stable for temperatures. I don't even know what this is going to be. Two, 3, and 4. They're all here. It's hard to believe that this is it. This is exactly what we've been waiting on. I guess it wasn't the most exciting opening for you guys. Oh, I know what else is in here. I understand what else is in here now. The names are printed in such small printing, even on the little vials, that I can't even show you. If I held it up, you won't even be able to see it. Now I understand why the box is a little bit bigger, because I earned some AMAC boxes. These are kind of the standard for the industry. These are AMAC boxes out of the US, and they're used for all sorts of different things, but for housing certain tarantula species, these things are wonderful and extremely economical. So I ordered 3 of those to house those 3 individual ones there. If I'd gone to a 4th one, it would have changed the shipping aspect of it, and I've got lots of containers, as you guys know. So we got our 3 AMAC boxes for our 3 tarantulas. You guys are wondering, hey Biggs, what's with all the fanfare? What's with all the stuff that we're doing here? Well, this one is a Bluefang tarantula. Sagnantus, Bluefang, beautiful, beautiful species. And it's actually really, really attractive when it's small. Now that spiderling is only going to be about ½ an inch in size. Hence it being shipped in these little tiny, tiny vials. The 3 here, and I can see a slight little shadow there of this one. The 3 here are the Celadonia. The one pictured on my shirt here, the Brazilian jewel tarantula. Ever since I got back into tarantulas, these have been on the absolute pinnacle of my list. So in fact, of getting captive bred T. Celadonias, I'm really stoked about these. So now we got to get them all quickly set up. Now to set them up, This is not my idea whatsoever. Many, many well-known and well-respected tarantula keepers have made the same sort of very, very basic kind of incubator, we'll call it. And basically this is about a 3.5 gallon aquarium. I just put some good quality insulation on the bottom. I put it on the bottom on the inside. It's not going to matter inside or outside. Glass is a poor insulator. I've got it on both sides. I've got it on the top and I have it on the back. And then inside, I've got a small little heat panel. Those are usually what are sold in the reptile trade as the under tank heaters. I'm going to use that just as a little bit of radiant heat. And then I'm going to put a little acrylic front on it with some good ventilation. And those little 3 AMAC boxes will be inside there. And it'll be just, I'll be able to bring that temperature up a little bit more. When we look at the temperature, all the other animals and stuff are sitting at room temperature. That's about 20 to 21 degrees Celsius on average. But in the summertime, we do not have air conditioning, so a lot of the temperatures do go up a little bit. But all my species, all my tarantulas, all the smaller stuff, they do absolutely fine. But when it comes to something like this, the Brazilian jewel lives very, very northern Brazil, and it needs that really slightly warmer temperature. We want to get that temperature around that 80-degree mark. They like good humidity, but they don't want to be wet. So we want to get them set up in here. All right, to get these guys set up, my little AMAC boxes, I went and got my little soldering thing. I just punched a few little tiny holes. Now you got to remember, I have to put really tiny holes that they can't escape. So these are small, but I also still want to have good ventilation. So I've got a couple of smaller ones at the base. I've got a couple that go all the way around, and then the lids as well. So I've got good ventilation. Now, for substrate and for platforms, this is 100% an arboreal species. So I've got a couple of little pieces of cork bark here that's got lots of different textures and fissures and stuff on it. And what this species does is it basically will you'll find a little niche. When it gets bigger, it'll probably actually dig a little hole. But as it's now, it's just going to make a little niche inside one of these little fissures or holes. And then it's going to use parts of its substrate. So the real key is that you put all sorts of different materials, small materials. So I've got my different cocoa fibers and stuff. I actually took a rasp. A rasp is like a file, and I took the rasp and I actually shaved down some of the different cork bark. So I've got also different types of pieces of cork bark filings, some sphagnum moss, some natural mosses, lichens and stuff like that, but right down to really, really fine scale as well. And that'll be my substrate. And what it's going to do is it's going to actually create a little trap door in one of these little holes or fissures to make its own little nest. And it basically uses its silk and these little components and makes a trap door. So let's get these things quickly set up for them and let's get them landed. And then there's the 3 environments for them. So you can see that moss, by putting that moss in there, the chopped up sphagnum moss and the green forest moss, that'll also increase the humidity, the ambient humidity within the enclosure itself, which is very important for this species. But the species does not want to be wet. So we got all those little fines and stuff all over the substrate. And animal should be able to make something absolutely perfect out of it. And there's the first Brazilian jewel. Terrifying, isn't it? What do you think of those little guys, Paisley?
So pretty.
They're tiny, eh? Do you know what this one's called? This one is called the Brazilian jewel. And it's only going to get about 4 times bigger than that. They don't get very big. Should we get a bunch of those and let them loose in your room?
No.
And the last little T. Celadonia. I don't know how can it get any better than those other 2. They were absolutely spectacular. And that's something that you should come to expect when you're dealing with professionals like Martin and Amanda over at Tarantula Canada. They absolutely set the standard. But wait, there's more. We still have one more tarantula to land, and this one here is the Bluefang. Phobopus Sagnantus, an outstanding New World species that is even breathtaking when it's young. Now the one that's in here is only going to be about 1/2 inch in size, Now, talking with Amanda at Tarantula Canada, she says when they found them in Guyana, I believe it was Guyana, she said that they are almost always at kind of waist height arboreal. They are sometimes opportunistic fossorial species. So we've created with some good substrate mix, good level of substrate mix, moisture retentive but not wet, and we've got a nice little slab of cork bark, so it could choose that, or it can choose to hide underneath it, or it could dig a hole. So let's get this one landed. For the unknowing, this is absolutely the most safest way of transporting these animals. They're wrapped into these little tiny, almost cocoons. And there he or she is. Oh, look at that little beauty. They are just such an outstanding one. And they've been on the top of my list of wanting to add to my collection for a while, too. So I'm really fortunate that I have one in my collection now. You can see the coloration. Even as a juvenile. Super hairy. Very, very striking. Come on. And there she be. So even at this size, you can already see that blue flash. Green, pinks and browns, yellows, purples and blues. I don't think you can ask for a much more colorful tarantula than this one.